Greetings, Stash Wyslouch here. Welcome to Quick Tip number 73. Today I want to address the toggling practice routine. Toggling between playing melody and improvisation in bluegrass tunes, fiddle tunes. I've addressed this indirectly dozens of times throughout my quick tips, and I just want to directly address it once and for all in one quick tip head on. When presenting improvisation to my students in fiddle tunes and bluegrass specifically, I think of it as approaching it in two different streams. One stream is melodic variation, where you're taking a melody and you're varying it in a very specific way. The melody is still really the essence of the ideas that you're outputting. The second stream is pure improvisation. You're creating your own melodies, your own shapes, in contrast to the melody that's already there. The second of the two streams is more what you'd hear in jazz, for example. Obviously, there's a lot of overlap between these two streams, but in terms of systematically approaching it, I think codifying it into those two different ideas is a really good way to structure your practice routine. So this question comes up, especially in bluegrass and fiddle music, where there's so much emphasis on playing the melody and playing the song. When do you just improvise and make up your own melodies? Well, that's not an obvious question, and the things that you're interested in are going to determine that at the end of the day. But for now, you could kind of train your intuition, your awareness of this, by practice toggling between improvisation and melody playing. So let's take a tune, Cattle on the Cane, and let's start with the first scale of toggling. Cattle on the Cane is AABB form. So what if on the first A part we play a melody, and then on the second A part we improvise completely, do whatever you want. More important than anything is that then on the B part, the first B part, you come back in on a melody, and then the second B part, you improvise. 1, 2, 3, 4, melody. Improvise. For 15 minutes. Do it for a long time. Just experiment and really get into this idea of going between the melody and improvising. Now, of course, you can go more specific. What kind of ideas are you going to do when you improvise? Are you going to use exclusively scale steps, exclusively triads? We address so many of these conceptual ideas in so many of the quick tips. Pick your poison. Or just improvise and see what happens. Who cares? Next scale of toggling. What if we do melody in the first half of the A section and then improvise on the second half of the A section? Next A section comes around, do the exact same thing. So we're basically toggling twice as much. 4. Another scale. Quarter the A part melody, quarter toggling, back and forth, back and forth. 3, 4. the more rigorous you're being about how far you can really improvise, you have to experiment. Take it really slow. As always, there's no rush to do this kind of thing. One note I want to say is, as you get into this, more than thinking about like I'm improvising on bar 1 and 2 and melody on bars 3 and 4, I'm thinking more like I'm replacing a phrase with improvisation. And then I'm going back to the next phrase in the melody. Like, for example, Cat on the Cane has 4 phrases. Second phrase. Third phrase. Fourth phrase. There's my framework. It happens to coincide with groupings of 2 bars, but it's not always going to be like that. So use the phrasing, maybe, to determine your toggle points. You could decide, oh, I'm going to play the melody on phrases 1 and 4 and improvise where phrases 2 and 3 were. Get as adventurous as you want with it. Remember that a lot of these phrases comprise pickup notes. Something that helps me toggle more effectively is being really aware of where beat 1 of the phrases are. So for example, something like Gold Rush that starts out like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Well, actually beat 1 is just... So I just forget about all that other stuff because it's a lot harder to come in on the and of 1 or beat 2 as opposed to just beat 1 at the beginning of the phrase. If you've watched any of my other quick tips, you know I use this technique all the time to get into all kinds of concepts. I can't recommend it highly enough. Your knowledge of the tune will go through the roof. Check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Check out my Patreon if you want nice tablature to this tune, other supplemental materials, and access to all 70 plus quick tips and monthly workshops. Thanks so much. See you next time.